What is up, guys? Finally doing this update video. Got everything sorted out that I think I needed to get done. I still need to take it for another test ride. I switched out this air filter from the one off the mountain bike, so this will let it get a lot more air, and then also it shouldn't be scooping up as much dirt from the front. So I did that. I got little pieces of rubber underneath our coil mount, so this is a lot more sturdy, so it's still able to spin, but it takes a lot more force. Got a bolt on the brackets there to keep them as one solid unit, so this is not going anywhere now. Also switched out the brake pads. The old ones were just super worn down and like not grabbing at all, which this is still not a perfect setup. Having these rack mounting bars, whatever, catching that cable is just kind of screwing it all up. I'd like to switch it to a side pole design. Ended up taking one link out of the chain and scooting the chain tensioner forward a little bit, so that'll make that a little less sketchy. And it leaves us with a lot more adjustability on this tension wheel if we do ever get another rim to switch over to our 28 tooth sprocket. Also got my tool bag on there from up there, and I also got my speedometer, odometer put back on the bike. This originally came off this bike, so I didn't have to mess with the settings or anything. This one is wired. I actually got a new one for the chopper that I didn't even realize is like Bluetooth, so that's really cool. With this one, obviously got it wired around the headset some more, and then not going off the frame so that it doesn't pull any tension on it when I'm turning. With how I have it right now, it's only on the parts that do turn. I am a little bit worried about the shocks, that if it ends up giving it some more slack and then comes back down, it might kind of yank on it. So I might actually take out one of these loops at some point, but then it just comes down to your receiving unit, and then not sure if you can really see the arrow on there. Can you see it? There we go. Now you can see it. Yeah, that arrow right there is where it's looking for this magnet and just counts it every time it goes around. And then keep your instructions, because when this is the one off the old one, but it has like a number code for each tire size that you have to put into the computer so it knows how big your wheel is. These are kind of rough estimates. I think I put this one in as a 26-inch road bike tire, but I should have actually kept it as a mountain bike tire, just because it has that slightly thicker thickness. I don't know. So another way that you can get that number is, let's say you start with your valve at the very bottom, dead center, whatever, and then you just kind of mark where that's at. You roll the bike forward until that makes one full rotation, and then mark where it ends up again, and then measure between those two spots and convert it into millimeters, I believe, and then that will be your exact number for the computer to calculate, and you'll be spot on. But even going off of what's in their book, I think me having this as a road bike tire instead of a mountain bike tire only affects it by maybe like half a mile an hour or so. It's not a lot, but yeah. So I got that on there now, so I can keep track of how far I've gone, how fast I'm going, whatever. Mainly it's just for the odometer, just to see when this bike finally reaches its broke-in phase, I guess, which it seems like it's running fine as it is. But yeah, so another thing with that, with your break-in phase, I can't remember what I said, that it was like 500 miles or something. It's 500 kilometers, which translates over to like 180 some miles. So a little under 200 miles, and this is just, it'll be broken in right where it needs to be. And then they also say when you're still in the break-in phase, to keep the speed of your bike down to like 25 kilometers an hour, which is like, I don't know, 15 miles an hour. But keep in mind, that's with the stock 44 tooth sprocket. So you got more torque, but you can't even get up to speed that much. So if you do downsize to a smaller sprocket, your top speed number goes up a little bit, because then the engine's not actually cranking as fast to keep up your speed. So with this, I'd say maybe I could do 20 miles an hour, even though I've been pushing it up to like 30 and it's handling it just fine. But in my video, I didn't really go over like the engine mounting process, but anything that has a nut, with the exception of like your case nuts, whatever, you want to put lock washers on everything. Put them on here, put them on here, on your engine mounts, even up here. Normally these would be like Allen wrench bolts, but even up here I double lock washered that. Lock washers on the back. Just put them everywhere you possibly can. I got, those are a form of lock washer. I don't think I have any on the bottom, but that's okay. Got lock washers all over this hardware. So just use them a lot. Use them everywhere you can think you might need them, because they will keep everything tight where it needs to be. Keep your chain in line. Also with my chain tensioner, I ended up flipping the wheel to the other side. Normally you'd see these like reversed around, but I like it better with this metal plate towards my foot instead of towards the spokes. So that's just personal preference, but make sure you're keeping your chain as perfectly in line with your engine as you possibly can. If you're having issues with it, it could be where it's mounted on the engine, but that's pretty unlikely just because they're like round mounts, so it can only really go in one spot. But with your sprocket, if you're using the stock sprocket, they have that bend to them, so you might have to flip it one way or the other just to get it in line correctly. And then obviously your tension wheel, you want to keep that perfectly in line. Even though mine's a little bit angled, it's still in line with the chain. Chunks of metal missing from my engine. There was this part missing, and then also inside of here there was a big chunk missing off of the bucking bar assembly. That's just from the factory. It just came like that. It doesn't look nice, but it doesn't actually affect how well the engine runs. Just casting defects, which is another reason, if you don't already have a file set, you can get a whole kit of small files from Harbor Freight for like $2.50, and I ended up filing down around the whole head of the engine too, just because it was so sharp in some spots. So I just kind of filed it, made it look nicer, just kind of, yeah, touched up some of the overhangs, and like they're all like misaligned, so they're not perfect when you get them, but as long as it runs, then that's what matters. But yep, going back to what I was saying with the wheel, I did find out the other day, take you out here, that if you get a rim that has a disc brake on it, if you look, it's just bolted onto the rim, like actually on the hub of the rim. So that's a very solid connection. And when you get these aftermarket sprockets, let's see if I can show you on this one. So if you look, you got your 9 holes, which is where I got it bolted up. This one has the 3 extra holes for that clamp I was showing you, but then there's also this set of 6 holes that's like super close to the hub, and that would actually be for mounting it onto the plate that your disc brakes would attach to. So instead of bringing the whole sprocket with me to a bike shop or whatever, I'm just gonna see if I could find a 26-inch tire that just has disc brake stuff already on it, or it could be missing the disc brake but just has the attachments for it. And then yeah, the same 7 gears on the back, and then I'll still have my clamping brakes going, so that'll still work all the same. So that's another thing. All right, last thing for the update video, I ended up changing the brakes from the kind of, well, I guess can't really see, but like the Y pull setup to one of these side pulling setups. So it's super janky. Ended up getting a door plate and just little bolt thing with a hole already through it, rewired everything on, and it's still a little bit loose, I guess, and it kind of flexes that plate when I pull the brake, but it stops so much better. I can actually stop within 5 feet now instead of 20, 30. So I'll probably change it up, make it look a little bit nicer, but for now it works. So yep, I'll probably just do little small updates here and there if I go changing anything else on the bike, but I think this is kind of our final form for now. I might end up switching the brakes around. I'd have to steal the rear derailleur shifter, whatever, off the other bike, because with this one it's all one unit and I need that to be separate from the brake if I am going to end up putting this dual brake lever handle thing on it, because I think I'm just going to keep the one on the chopper that's already on there. I'll probably grind off some of this extra crap that's unnecessary, but it's already on there. It works good, so might as well just leave it. Doesn't have to be pretty. But so I guess in our next video, I'm just gonna be working on the chopper finally. I got the gas tank taken off. I still gotta take that plate off, take off the headset, grease up those bearings and stuff, see if I can make it a little bit better, because it still kind of has some wobble back and forth. And then I guess for starters, we're probably gonna try to get this engine running again. It does run, I just haven't started it in like half a year or so. I've been trying to jump it over with a battery I got, but the carburetor was always a little bit finicky and I had to use starting fluid to get it going. So I'll probably just take off all this plastic covering stuff so I can actually access it better, and then we might even just change the carburetor while we're there. But I'm gonna start getting this taken off and take you guys from there. Thank you all again so much for watching. I hope the update video was something good. I'll keep posting more if I do change up some things on the bike, which I have some things planned. But again, thank you all so much for watching. Onto the chopper bike, I guess.